What I might be declaring is, I declare that I agree with all of these propositions about God. And I'm just agreeing with propositions. Is that faith? I would answer no. I would say it's maybe the beginning of faith, but that's not faith.
It is faith to just agree with propositions if there's no evidence to support them, or worse, they contradict what you know to be true. For instance, 3 can't equal 1, and a virgin cannot give birth, at least not unless she's artificially inseminated or the like, which was not the case, of course, with Jesus. And a man who has been dead for 3 days cannot rise from the grave and come back, and so on and so forth. So there is no way to accept those propositions rationally. They are accepted precisely on faith. They're accepted in the absence of evidence to support them, or even against evidence that contradicts them.
But that's not faith. Why not? Let's go through this. Because if I'm simply believing in propositions, that means that I intellectually have come to a place of belief, which is great, really wonderful. But faith is deeper. Faith officially can be defined as when I submit or I surrender my intellect and my will to God himself.
All right, so here's a definition of faith. When you submit your intellect or your will to God himself. When you submit your intellect or your will to God himself. Now, he's going to elaborate on this, but I want to pause on this. This is to sacrifice your mind, your judgment, to an alleged being you cannot even detect the existence of.
Faith is when I submit my intellect and my will to God himself. That means to what he's revealed about himself, me, creation, how to get close to him, salvation, justification, how we get holier and holier, like all these pieces. I've submitted my intellect and my will to God himself.
This is interesting because you have to actually commit a sacrifice of your intellect and will even before you can submit them to God himself, because you first have to sacrifice your mind to even accept that a God exists when there's no evidence to support him. So it's not just that you're going to submit to what this alleged God wants you to do or commands you to do, or says you must do. Rather, it's even prior to that, the sacrifice of your mind to the very notion that you should accept there's such a being to begin with. And this stuff gets skipped over a lot of times when these professional religionists are talking about God.